Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today we're going to be doing a Cyber Dragon deck profile. So I'm really excited for this one because you guys have been requesting like crazy for me to do a Cyber Dragon deck profile, and I haven't done one since November, and I really wanted to do an update for you guys because this deck is actually pretty good in the meta right now, especially with Cyber Dragon Infinity being such a powerful card still. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below where you have all sorts of awesome rewards. You guys like getting your name description for every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, or even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your patron along with test hand. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Cyber Dragon. So you got to play 3 copies of Cyber Dragon because it's the main card of the deck. If you don't control a monster and your opponent controls a monster, you can instantly special summon this card from your hand. And it is one of the best cards in the entire deck actually because of machine duplication with some of the interactions that it has with a couple of the other cards in the deck. We then play 3 copies of Cyber Dragon Core. So this card's a very interesting card in the deck because it has the ability that when this card is normal summoned, you get to add any cyber spell or trap from your deck to your hand. And if your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon 1 Cyber Dragon monster from your deck. And you only use this card's effect once per turn, and only each one of the effects once per turn as well. So you can only activate either or of the effects. You can't activate both of them. But it's a really good card to just normal summon and search any of your cards that you particularly need, like Cyber Load Fusion, your copy of Cyber Emergency, or your Cybernetic Overflow from your deck to your hand, or Rev System to get you another play. We then play 3 copies of Cyber Dragon Hertz. Cyber Dragon Hertz is a really neat card, and it's very versatile, and it's very much a toolbox card in the deck because it's really good at multiple things. Because what this card does is this card's name becomes Cyber Dragon while in the field or in the graveyard, which is a really good effect just to have another card that counts as Cyber Dragon. And if this card is special summon, you can make this card's level become 5 until the end of the turn, and you can't special summon monsters for the rest of the turn. But you can only use one of the effects of this card per turn. The other effect of this card is if this card is sent to the graveyard, you get to add another Cyber Dragon from your deck to your hand, which is, or deck or graveyard to your hand, which is a really good effect just to be able to grab you a Cyber Dragon from the graveyard or grab one from your deck, especially if you're already mid plays and you've already gone through a couple of plays and you have a Cyber Dragon that's in the graveyard. This card can help you recover it. We then play 2 copies of Cyber Dragon Nashter. Nashter is alright as a 2 of. You just do not need 3 of this. This card is a good 2 of, but you will never play 3. It is very clunky at 3 and gets to be a brick at 3, but it's good as 2 of because this card has the ability that this card's name becomes Cyber Dragon while in the field or in the graveyard. And you can discard one other card or one other monster and special summon this card from your hand. And if this card is normal or special summon, you get to target one machine monster with 2100 attack or defense in your graveyard and special summon it, but you can't special summon monsters for its turn except for machine monsters. This card helps you out getting into your link plays, but since it doesn't level manipulate itself to get up any higher of a level, it's good as a 1-of. We then play a single copy of Cyber Dragon Veer, which is basically a Kage to Kage of the deck. If you guys are familiar with what that card does, basically if you do summon a Cyber Dragon to your side of the field, you can special summon this card out behind it, which is pretty good. We then play a single copy of Cyber Eltanen. Now, Eltanen is a pretty good card at helping you board wipe, which is why I play this card as a 1-of in the deck. It's pretty good, too, because it can banish all the machine monsters that are on your field and in your graveyard, and then this card gains 500 attack for each material for it, and it sends all the cards on the field to the graveyard, which is a pretty good effect to just send the cards from the field to the graveyard that are face-up monsters on the field to be able to just instantly get you a big beat stick on your side of the field and also give you a lot of card advantage to just deal with a lot of boards. And since it sends to the graveyard, that's why it's such a good card. We then play 2 copies of Galaxy Soldier. Galaxy Soldier is a good 2 of in the deck because you can discard a card or send a card from your hand to the graveyard to be able, that's a light monster, to be able to special summon this card to your side of the field, and then you get to search another Galaxy card, which is going to be your copy of Galaxy Soldier that you're going to search from the deck because it's your only other target. So Galaxy Soldier leads into Galaxy Soldier. The reason you don't play 3 is because you end up where you summon 1, and sometimes in some situations you'll have to summon them both in the same turn, which is very rare, but you sometimes do, and you'll search a Galaxy Soldier off a Galaxy Soldier, but you can only use its effect to search once per turn. We then play a single copy of Yugioh. Yugioh is searchable in the deck, so you use this card to out a lot of boards like Dragoons and stuff like that. And it's really easy to link summon or to use your copy. I want to say link summoning because it's about link summoning to do it. You can use your copy of Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon to out it because you can summon a Cyber Dragon to your side of the field, any of your Cyber Dragons, and then link it away or contact fuse it away with your copy of Yugioh that your opponent has, and then summon the Fortress Dragon to get you a 2000 beat stick on your side of the field and out an opponent's card. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom to round out the monsters. The Ash Blossoms just help out in the deck a lot to be able able to stop your opponent from all sorts of different shenanigans, and it just is really overall good. But you don't need a lot of hand traps in this deck already, because you do play the Infinity in the extra deck, which is already a great out to a lot of stuff. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Monster Reborn because it just helps you get a lot of plays rolling in the deck. And it's just an overall really good card. One copy of Foolish Burial because you can send stuff like your copy of Hurts to the graveyard to achieve its effect, to be able to add stuff from deck to hand or graveyard to hand. One copy of Rev System. Rev System is basically a Monster Reborn that lets you special summon a Cyber Dragon from your hand or deck, or hand or graveyard, and it is destroyed during the end phase. But it's a good searchable card. You just need one copy of it because it's overall just a one of to me because it's searchable. We play a single copy of Repair Plant, which is a search card in the deck as well. It has the ability that if you have a Cyber Dragon in your graveyard, you can add a Light Machine monster from your deck to your hand, or target a Light Machine monster in your graveyard and shuffle it into the deck. Now, this is how you actually search your copy of Yugioh. The easiest is you use this card to search it and be able to out other people's cards. But if you have 3 or more Cyber Dragons in your graveyard, you can activate both of the effects. We then play a single copy of Feather Duster. Feather Duster is really good because this deck just does not like back row at all, because you're trying to OTK with Rampage Dragon, but playing your copy of Feather Duster is just overall really good to be able to out a lot of boards. We then play a single copy of 1-for-1 because it can help you special summon Hurts from the deck. One copy of Cyber Load Fusion, which is really good to let you fusion summon monsters from your extra deck that lists a Cyber Dragon monster by shuffling monsters that are in the from listed among it from cards among your field and or face up banished cards, but monsters you control cannot attack for the rest of the turn. But it's a really good card to kind of flip against your opponent during their turn to be able to get them a copy of Rampage Dragon to be able to pop multiple back row against your opponent. One copy of Instant Fusion because you have multiple targets in the extra deck, or you have a Millenniumize in the extra deck to be able to go into, which counts basically as another Call by the Grave. It's really good to be able to stop your opponent from all sorts of stuff with the copy of Millenniumize, and it's just an overall really good card. Play a single copy of Overload Fusion. Overload Fusion is your primary way that you're going to be going into your copy of Rampage Dragon, because this card is really good just to summon out the Rampage Dragon. Basically as a one card Rampage, and Rampage is just ridiculously good in this deck to be able to just summon to your side of the field. Now, I play a single copy of Power Bond because Power Bond can be really clutch in a lot of situations where you want to summon out your copy of Rampage to be able to get it to your side of the field, because this card lets you send from your hand or your side of the field fusion to your graveyard fusion materials that are listed on Machine Fusion monster, and it doubles the attack of the monster, but you take the damage during the end phase, but you're usually going to OTK them with the Rampage if you draw into this, and it's just an overall really good card that I've been debating just putting it as a one of in the deck, and I threw it in here, and I've really liked the results. We then play 3 copies of Cyber Emergency. Cyber Emergency lets you add 1 Light Machine monster that cannot be normal summoned or set, or 1 Cyber Dragon monster from your deck to your hand, which is a really good card to be able to play into this deck. We then play 3 copies of Machine Dupe. Machine Dupe is the most ridiculous card in this deck because it has the ability that if you have Hurts on your side of the field, or you have your copy of your Core on your side of the field, then you can just instantly special summon 2 Cyber Dragons to your side of the field, because the interaction has been always weird with this card because the way that they're worded, because they count as Cyber Dragon while they're on the field. They count as the original Cyber Dragon. So you just instantly get to summon Cyber Dragon to your side of the field instead of summoning Cyber Dragon, Hurts, or Core, multiple copies of them, unless its effects gets negated. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're playing 2 copies of Cybernetic Overflow, and I really like this card as a 2 of in the deck because it helps me out a lot of boards that my Infinity can't. And plus, if my opponent ends during their turn, I can pop up to like 4 cards with this card, because you banish Cyber Dragons with different levels from your hand, face from your field, or your graveyard, and you destroy cards on your opponent's field up to the number of monsters that you banished for this card's effect. And if this card on the field is destroyed and sent to the graveyard by a card effect, then you get to add a Cyber Spell or Trap from your deck to your hand, which is a really good effect just to be able to get you a search off of this card as well if it does get destroyed. This card is always going to give you advantage, which is why I play this card as a 2 of in the deck. A lot of people play this as 1 because it's searchable, but I don't mind top decking this because I can just set it and then go off with it and pop multiple stuff on my opponent's field, and they usually can't recover from this. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, well, because it has Infinity on the card. Like, it might as well be a Cyber Dragon card, but it's really good in the deck to be able to just stop your opponent, and playing this plus the 3 Ash is all you really need for hand traps in this format. Especially with the copy of your Infinity, you're always going to establish like between 2 to 3 negates against your opponent and then go in for the OTK with your copy of your Rampage Dragon, it's just really good to play the impermanence in here. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Infinity. Infinity is the craziest card in the extra deck, and it's going to be the one you're going to be going into the majority of the time outside of Nova. But what this card does is once per turn, you can target one face-up attack position monster on the field and attach to this card as material. And then once per turn, when a card or effect is activated, you can quick effect detach the material from this card and negate the activation if you destroy it. So it negates something, and it gobbles up a card, and it gains 200 attack for each material on it, which is just a ridiculously good effect. We then play 2 copies of Nova, which Nova is pretty much the card that you're going to be summoning to actually go into this, because you can summon Nova and then immediately summon the Cyber Dragon Infinity on top of it, but you can only summon Infinity once per turn, which is why you don't play multiple copies, like 3 of each. But basically what this card does is you can detach a material from it to revive a Cyber Dragon from your hand, or from your graveyard, which is a really good effect. And also it has the ability that it can increase its attack points as well, which is a pretty good effect. Just increase it by 2100 attack by tributing a Cyber Dragon on the field, or banishing a Cyber Dragon from your hand or face from your side of the field. This card gains 2100 attack, going to 42, which is pretty good as a beat stick. We play a single copy of Pleiades because it can bounce stuff, which is super helpful in the deck, because sometimes you're going to want to make a double Infinity, but you can't, because you can't do it in the same turn. So you're going to make a Pleiades and a copy of Infinity, so you're going to get a bounce and a negate on this card. We then play for the Link monsters. We're going to be playing a single copy of Anaconda because it can use any of your fusion spells from your deck to be able to go off with plays. 1 copy of Alamirage, because if you normal summon any of your monsters, you can just go into Alamirage to be able to protect your cards. Now, I have been considering throwing in a Boral Sword in this deck to be able to help me OTK a little bit more, but I haven't kind of found room for it, but I thought about dropping the Alamirage for it, because I play a couple of other cards in the extra deck as well. We're then going to play a single copy of Linkuriboh, because it's really good in the deck to be able to summon the Linkuriboh against your opponent, and get you all sorts of being able to not be attacked with this card, to be able to protect your Infinity, because usually the only way they're going to out the Infinity is to be able to attack over it. 1 copy of Relinquish Anima. Now, this is the card I've been thinking about dropping in the deck to be able to play that 1-of copy of Boral Sword, to be able to just OTK my opponent a little bit easier, but I haven't, again, taken it out, but that's totally up to you. If you want to drop the copy of Relinquished Anima, you can, and play the copy of Boral Sword, but that's totally up to you. I then play a single copy of Cyber Dragon Sigurd. Sigurd is ridiculous in this deck because it can get really big. It can go all the way up to 24, or not 24, but it can go all the way up to 42, which is a really big beat stick of a monster, and it just is really good at outing a lot of cards. We then play for the fusion monsters. We're going to be playing quite a few fusions in the deck, which is a single copy of Mega Fleet, which is going to be able to out cards in your opponent's extra monster zone. 1 copy of Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, which can out other machine monsters on the field, which is really good if you go against any machine deck. This card is ridiculous. We play 2 copies of Rampage. I really like 2 copies of Rampage because it gives me additional like plays. Now, something I have been thinking about with the copy of my Power Bond, I thought about dropping maybe one of these and play testing with it with a copy of Twin, because I could use that with my copy of Nova to revive or to bring out the copy if they destroy that, and I would get a copy of Nova or a copy of Twin on my side of the field if they negate the summon of my copy of Nova, which is pretty cool. But I kind of don't want to, because I feel like the Rampage is a little bit better at the cost of 700 attack points. It's just an overall easier card to summon. And then we play a single copy of Millennium Eyes, which gives us a lot of different negates as well. And something I will mention as well about the copy of Rampage can attack multiple times, and it also has the ability that you can target spells or traps up to the number of fusion materials that were put into it and pop those on the field, which is why I really kind of just lean to playing this. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. It's a really fun deck to play with. I highly recommend that you guys give it a shot, because it is probably one of the most fun decks that I play in my entire bunches of decks that I have in all my collection. And I really love playing around with Cyber Dragons because they're just a really cool nostalgic deck. So there's like 2 different builds that you can build. You can build a control based deck like this, or you can build the OTK build. That's a really fun build where you play like 3 Power Bonds, which is also a really cool build. But I liked the counter build a little bit better. So anyways, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell near your screen, become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below where we have all those awesome rewards. And we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.